Hello, 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 everyone. Oh my goodness, I am so glad to be here. So I just got finished with a planning party, which is our monthly planning event inside of the 1 Degree Shift Tribe. And this event is always so incredible and so eye-opening and so amazing for not just myself as the presenter, but for the people that come to the event. And you know, one of the things that we were talking about this month, or today, about this next month, is how do you know when it's time to just take a break? How do you know it's time to not set a goal and to not create a priority or to not put something into action? How do you know when to actually take a break and not set that goal and just chill the fuck out for a little bit? So that's what we're going to talk about today. So first of all, if you're watching this live, go ahead and put hashtag live in the comments. If you're watching the replay, go ahead and put hashtag replay. And if you know anybody who struggles with knowing when the right time to take action or to take a break is, tag them in the comments below or share this with them. So over the last 23 years, I've had the pleasure of mentoring people, coaching people, being of service to people, helping them clean out their houses, helping them simplify and declutter their lives, and helping them create and build businesses. And in all the 23 years that I've been doing this, there are times when I tell my clients, stop. You don't have to move any farther than what feels comfortable for you. There are times when you feel overwhelmed. There are times when you feel like the weight of the world is on your shoulders. You feel like you keep seeing, on social media or in the news or whatever, this is important, you need to focus on this, you need to focus on this, and there's so much information, and it's almost information overload, and people are like, I'm just like, stop. So there is such a thing, what I like to call in my practice is an integration week. Sometimes you can even have an integration month. What is this? So, okay, I'm gonna share with you a little bit of a story first. So every single month we do, inside of my groups, we do a monthly review. And in the monthly review, we look at what worked, what didn't work, the goals we completed, our biggest lessons learned, what we're grateful for, all this other stuff. And then we create a monthly action plan. And this monthly action plan, we create a word for this next month, we create a goal, and then we also look at what result is that goal going to give us? Like, why do we want to achieve this goal? What is the result of that? And then we break that one goal down into 4 baby steps, like 4 milestones, and then break that down even farther. So a couple of months ago, a client of mine in the group, she's one of my VIPs, she was just feeling kind of like this information overload going, oh my God, like I'm just, too much, too freaking much. And I'm like, then don't set a goal for this next month. Just be present. Just go where the wind takes you. And I think for her, that was a huge epiphany because she's like, what? I don't have to set a goal? I'm like, no. You can just be, and you can integrate all the stuff that you already know to do, and you already feel like you have to do, want to do, should do, need to. I mean, all the things, you can just see what bubbles up, see what comes to the surface. And she was like, wow, really? I'm like, yeah, you don't have to set a goal. So one of the things that I personally do in my business is I have 3 weeks on, 1 week off. So the 3 weeks on is when I'm working with my clients. I'm doing things like this, like all the things. And then so the 1, 2, 3, the first 3 weeks, I'm blowing and going, doing my thing. The last week, it's integration. I integrate all the stuff that I've learned, all the stuff that I personally have ingested as far as knowledge, and I sit with it. I let what bubbles up, bubble up. I let those lessons that need to come to the surface, come to the surface. And this is huge. I think so many people right now are so focused on the doing and so focused on this fast-paced thing we call life they forget that they can jump off that hamster wheel and just chill for a little bit. They don't even have to be on the hamster wheel. Like, you literally can go at your own pace. You can move to the beat of your own drummer. And so if you are feeling overwhelmed, if you feel like you're reading, because I know so many people in my community are kind of like self-help junkies, where we're constantly listening to a book on tape or reading a book or watching videos or listening to podcasts and taking courses and doing all the things to try to be the best version of ourselves possible. But then all of a sudden you start to feel like you're not making any progress and you're like, what the hell is going on? Like, why is this not working? Well, in my opinion, professionally and personally, it's because you have too much information up here. So in order for us to create lasting change, and I talk about this in my 1 Degree Shift book, which it's right there. I don't have the other copy with me. I've got several around my house. But one of the things that I talk about in my book is that most people think to create lasting change, you have to do like a 180 or a 90-degree shift or a 45-degree shift. That's too much. That will lead to burnout because you're making too big a change at once, and it's too much for your brain and your physiology to handle. So that's why when people do that, they usually end up going back to where they were before or feeling burnt out. And so allowing yourself to recognize that in order to create lasting change, you really only have to commit to one baby step. And like I said, a lot of people, most of the people in my community consume self-help on a regular basis and feel like that there's something wrong with them because it's not sticking. Well, in order for you to action what you know, you have to translate that into the subconscious mind. So if you think about the conscious mind as your alert mind, the ego mind, the knowledge-based book mind thing being, part of you, what happens is all of this is head stuff. This is, oh yeah, I know to do this, but how many things do you know that you actually don't even do? A lot. Most people have that problem and that issue. Most people have that kind of the whole, hold on them thinking, well, why am I doing this? I know better than this, or I know that I need to do this, this, or this. So why am I not doing it? Why am I not doing it? It's because you haven't translated what you know up here into emotion and into the subconscious mind. So the subconscious is really what controls the show. That is the automatic habitual part of you that is the true version of you, okay? I'm not saying that your head version isn't you, because it is, but this is that one that without thinking, it just does. It's that habitual part of you. And it's that part that is deep and true and meaningful. And how do you, if you hear something and you take something in from a book and you're like, wow, I really want to do this, but then you don't make that change, it's because you haven't translated what you learned into the emotion. So how do you do that? Through integration. Through integration. And integration is allowing yourself to create that emotional impact from what you know into where you are emotionally and what feels, all the feels, what feels in your environment. Because that's just the thing, is your environment is made up of energy, and you feel that energy, you sense that energy, you know that energy, you allow yourself to just be in that space. And so when you can translate that, then that's when you can start to take intentional and intentional actions, okay? So if you're feeling overwhelmed by information, if you feel like you're being lazy or that you're procrastinating because of the overwhelm, because you're like, I know all the stuff that I need to do, why am I not doing it? And you keep getting on yourself and you keep berating yourself and you keep getting onto yourself and judging yourself because you're not doing it, recognize that it's just because you're overwhelmed. It's just because you have too much information, and it's okay. I'm here to tell you, this is your permission slip to stop everything. Stop listening to that book on tape. Stop taking that course or participating in that course. Stop reading that book. Stop taking in all the self-help and just take a break and rest. And again, this is what I like to call an integration week or a moment. And this is when you're integrating. So integration means when you, I don't know what the actual Webster's dictionary version of it is, but when I share this with my clients, integration is when you stop the intake or the input of information, you just stop and you allow yourself to just be and sit with the information that you already have and know. And then what happens is when you feel and know and understand the information and you're just in your environment, then what happens is all of a sudden those things that you really need, that your soul really wants you to do, will start to bubble up to the surface. Because you've now stopped the input. You've stopped all of the putting things in your cup and putting things in and adding and adding and adding and adding and adding. And you're like, oh my God, you're just stretched. When you stop adding information and you sit with what you know and you sit with all that information, then what happens is you start to assess your situation. You start to assess your life. You start to assess your mental health, your spiritual health, your emotional health, your physical health, all those things. You start to assess your environment. You start to assess all these little things in a very small, finite way. And then because you've taken a break, you've taken a breather, you've stopped the input, then really what happens is you literally have space. You have space to where all those things finally settle. And then those things that really truly need to surface for you to focus on even more will come up. And this is the integration. It's allowing the input to stop. It's allowing what you've already ingested. It could be physically, but this is all kind of the spiritual and emotional and intellectual stuff. All that to settle. You truly allow it to settle. And this is literally like if you've ever gone up to a mud puddle or like a puddle with, that's outside after it's rained and it's in the dirt and you just kind of swish it up a little bit and you see that it gets all muddy. And then if you wait, you'll see that all the sediment settles to the bottom and then the water looks clear. Same thing if you've ever gone into natural water, like a body of water, like the ocean or whatever, you start walking around and whatever, all the sand kind of comes up and agitates. That's what it's like. Sorry about that. So you get all this input that's coming in and then all of a sudden you're just like, okay, you stop, everything settles and you allow yourself to be present. And then you see what bubbles up. You see those things that start to emerge and that start to matter to you. So this week, what I want to encourage you to do, if you feel overwhelmed and frustrated with the amount of stuff that's coming in and the amount of lack of action that you're taking and just this lack of satisfaction for your life, give yourself permission to just stop, take a breather, and give yourself permission to take an integration week or month and allow yourself to feel what comes up. And you're going to notice those things that are important to you right now. You're going to notice those things that bubble up that really want your attention. That's what you then can jump into and focus on if you are in alignment with it, if it feels good, if it feels in alignment, and if it feels intentional. So I hope that this serves you today. If you want to join us inside the 1 Degree Shift Tribe, go ahead and click the link in the comments or in the description of this video. I love you. I hope this serves you, and I will see you very, very soon. Mwah. Bye.